Factor Theory Live. I'm Steve Crawford. Ghosts, UFOs, the paranormal, supernatural, unexplained. To me, it's all the same. For the longest time, I thought I was going nuts. I've got clear memories of being 2 years old in my crib, in my bed, waking up from a nap, and crying and freaking out with the Super Friends were on TV, an old show from the 70s or late 60s. And clear memories from that time on. And I'm constantly having dreams from back then that wake me up, scaring the crap out of me of things I've seen. Kind of hard to talk about. You see people getting choked up on like celebrity ghost stories, right? And you're like, oh, they're faking it. No, man. When you think about this stuff, certain people anyway that are in touch, people that are open-minded, hell, and even some skeptics who've had their minds changed drastically through no fault of their own, realize that there are things going on that nobody can explain. Hence the unexplained, right? The paranormal and supernatural. As far as ghosts go, I told a story about a house I had lived in that was a couple houses up from a cemetery. I have another one about that house. I have several, actually. This one's kind of neat. Batman with Michael Keaton, the very first one, had just come out on VHS. Yes, that's how old I am. And everybody in the house was in the rec room watching this movie. We only had one VCR. Except for my brother's then girlfriend's mother, who her room was down in the basement near the laundry room. So everybody's upstairs except for her. We're all in sight of each other. And we're hearing her yell every couple of minutes, "Goddamn kids! Stay the hell out of here! I'm trying to take a nap!" Finally, my brother and I go down, and we, Bernice, what the hell are you bitching about? The fucking kids keep pushing this bike into my room, and I'm trying to sleep. And we're like, they're not pushing shit into your room. We're all upstairs watching Batman. And she, all of a sudden, the anger's gone, and there's a look of fear on her face that made her look like a little girl. And she was like, that thing just came in here before, and she's pointing to a tricycle, one of the kids' tricycles, and it made its way past the end of her bed, then curved, and headed towards the washer and dryer area part of her room. So we grabbed it, we were like, holy crap, we know it wasn't the kids, and we believe her by this time just because of the look on her face. So we decided we're going to try a little experiment, and we take the tricycle, and we put it in my room. The one, by this time, I believe I had been smoked out already. See the other show to find out what that's supposed to be. So we put it in my room, and we took it in the corner, and put a Transformer doll facing forward on it. Facing the corner is the tricycle with the Transformer doll on it, facing forward like it's driving it. We stand outside the door, we lock it. We can lock it from the inside and the outside. So we lock it, and we stand outside to make sure no kids can come. They're all still upstairs watching Batman, and Bernice is down the hall trying to sleep, but unsuccessfully. So about 15 minutes pass, and we hear something. So we open up the door, and there's the tricycle behind the door. From the one far corner, it came across the room diagonally behind the door, and had the Transformer doll was facing backwards now. And I'm getting, I don't know if they're showing up, but I'm getting goosebumps just telling this story. So we both look at each other and run upstairs, and Verge, holy crap! It is real, no matter what. We've just proved it with this, and we told her the experiment. A few days later, I believe, this all happened. We were only there a couple of months. We wound up getting sick of being scared all the time. So I'm laying there in my room, in the rec room, on a fold-out bed from fold-out couch, with my head at the far end facing the basement window. and I see what appears to be a woman with brown hair behind the neighbor's fence staring at me as if they're, peeking over the fence and looking in at me. And then as I'm sitting up to look at this person, I see like white, like a robe, or actually thinner like a bed sheet, go up and then down. And I kind of freak out. I run upstairs and I tell my brother and Virginia what I saw, and we called the police. The police came out. They went next door because they wanted to make sure it was a nice area. We didn't want anybody getting robbed. There were 2 footprints, just 2, standing right where I saw this figure. Barefoot. Melted into the snow. No tracks leading to, no tracks leading away. And that was police documented. Here's a video that freaked me out pretty bad the first time I saw it. Freaked my daughter out. Did a little ghost video for her. I had put this one on hers, and she can't even watch her own video because this video scares her. Check this one out.
What room is that? If it's the room right above him, it should be 209.
John, do you copy? It's room 209. Amy says nobody's checked into that room, and there's reports of screaming coming from that room. Amy, he's on his way down there right now. What's going on, John? Checked into that room. There should be nobody in there. Wait 1 second, John. Amy, are you there? Yeah, John says he hears the screaming coming from that room. And I hear it too. But we're sure that no one's checked into that room. Correct? John, just wait. We're going to get a hold of the police. So, I would wait for the police, John. Amy, John's going to enter the room real quick just to check, make sure, see what's going on. Wait 1. John? John, are you there? Okay, Amy, John wants you to call the police right now if you don't mind. He says no one's in there, but that all of the furniture's been turned upside down and the hold on. He says the carpet's been ripped up and that the shower is on, but nobody's in there. Man, that's scary. I'm officially freaked out now.
That was some pretty freaky ass shit, right? Even the guy who was nowhere near it was scared shitless. And you see the way the guy who was brave enough to go in, he was like, screw this, I'm going in. There's nothing going on. This has got to be fake. Sure enough, he comes kind of out at the doorway. Everything's been ripped up. Water's going. And that's why my daughter can't watch it. Now for UFOs, as far as I can remember, I didn't really start seeing them till I was around 9. Between 9 and 12. And I actually started, the first time I really noticed them was at camp, church camp. We'd have a sleep out around a campfire, and you're staring up at nothing but stars. And I would see things shooting that people would say, oh, that's a satellite or a shooting star. Well, it's not a satellite, because it was in a polar orbit, and satellites can't run in a polar orbit. You can Google that information. And it definitely wasn't just a shooting star, because it was shooting fast, then would stop, then change direction, shooting fast, and then was going almost like somebody joyriding in a car going from side to side. So that gets rid of any kind of meteorite or anything like that. My first sense of missing time that really stands out was I was about 16, maybe 17. That's how old I was when I had my first child, my son Stephen. And I lived in St. Catharines. His mother lived in Port Colborne, and I used to hitchhike like every other day back and forth to Port Colborne to see her. And there was one night I was hitchhiking in St. Catharines at 406. You go by this big plaza, the Penn Center. Now I remember passing the Penn Center, and you start going up a hill towards St. David's Road. And that's the last thing I remember. Well, I remember looking up, I'm talking to myself. I was probably having an argument with myself. I do that quite often. And I do remember seeing what I first thought was a shooting star, and then it started doing the side-to-side thing. The next thing I know, I'm walking again, but I'm nowhere near St. Catharines. I'm, in fact, on the other side of Welland, walking up a little hill that leads into Port Colborne. Now, walking that distance would have took me at least 2 hours, because I walked pretty fast back then, and that's a pretty good earmark. To make the whole distance probably would have been 4 or 5 hours walking from St. Catharines to Port Colborne without getting a ride. But yet, here I am looking up at a star that's going side to side, and then the next thing you know, I'm walking again. The same thought I had in my mind as I was walking and then forgetting was there again. It's almost as if you're having a conversation. It stops, time freezes, and 5 minutes later they restart time, and you're still talking, finishing the conversation. That's what was going on in my mind. The same thought kind of paused, and then all of a sudden it continued, but I'm not in St. Catharines anymore. I'm walking into Port Colborne. I don't know, explain that to me, if you can. Let me know what you think in the comments. There's a couple of more, but I'll save those for another show. Here's another freaky video of the UFO sort.
Over here, up there, I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river. It wasn't a helicopter, it wasn't a balloon, and it was so near.
And it looked what, sort of round, white,
just
luminescent, and silent?
Silent, and it looked dark, like black or grey in the middle, and had white lights, just looked like light bulbs, you know? Just going off, on, blink, 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 round the bottom, and on top was a red light.